Hello class, today we are going to start with the new concept, that is the concepts slash terms related to the depository system. In the earlier lecture we have understood the depository participant, the investor and the relation between all three people. Okay, and in this lecture we are going to learn the concepts, the terms related to the depository system. There are various terms and concepts are there. We have to understood that first and we have to learn about it. Okay, so starting with the first one, that is called the dematerialization. You can see in the bracket it is written a demat. So in the earlier lecture I have informed you that if the investor wanted to purchase the shares, now it is a depository system is there in the share market. The people have to go, the investor have to go, they have to open a demat account with the depository, and when they open the demat account, then the accounts will be credited to the number of shares that he hold. Okay, so the shares could be maintained in an electronic form only in the demat account. So the investor need to open a demat account, and that is the term given over here. Demat is a process whereby a client can get a physical share certificate converted into an electronic form. So normally when the shares is been issued in the physical form, that shares also can be converted into an electronic form, and that shares can also be there in the demat account. So there are we can say two things could be done. If you have a demat account, you will now, if you wanted to purchase the shares in 2020, where you need to have a demat account with the depository, so you will go, you will open an account, and your account will be credited with the number of shares. Okay, earlier when the depository system was not there, depository system came into existence in India in the year 1996 when the Depository Act was passed. Before the Depository Act, only the physical we can say allotment of shares was done by the company. So the people, those who have the physical share certificate with them, okay, and after the depository system was been there in India, so the person, those who have the physical share certificate, if they want to get the shares converted into the demat account, they can do so. And now the companies are already offering the shares in the demat form instead of allotment of shares in the physical form. Okay, so this is what the benefits is there for the investor. The client, investor or client is one and the same. The client has to surrender the certificate along with the demat request form. So the person who have the physical share certificate, he have to surrender it with the demat request form. The DP forward this to the depository, who in turn forward it to the issuer. The depository participant, okay, the client, that is the investor, they can't directly access to the depository, they have to communicate through the depository participant. So here the investor, the client, what he will do, he will take the demat request form along with the share certificate, he will give an intimation to the depository, and depository forward all those things to the issuer. Issuer means the company who have issued the shares in the physical form. After the confirmation from the issuer, after getting all the legal formalities done from the issuer company, the depository will credit the securities in the demat account with the DP. So the depository will credit the securities in the demat account, and same thing will be for intimated to the depository participant, and depository participant will do the same things accordingly, and he will intimate it to the investors. Okay, second important concept is rematerialization. Rematerialization, or we could also call it as a remat. It is a process whereby a client can get his electronic holdings of securities converted into the physical form. Here what happened in the dematerialization, the physical share certificates are converted into an electronic form, whereas in rematerialization the reverse, vice versa हो जाता है. The physical we can say the shares, those who that are in the electronic form, that can be converted into the physical form. So ऐसा नहीं है कि एक बार शेयर्स को आपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में मिला है तो आपको सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में ही रहेगा. If the client want, if the investor want, the shares in the electronic form can be converted into the physical form as per the need and the desire of the investor. So rematerialization is vice versa हो जाता है dematerialization में जो हो रहा है. Here the investor can get the electronic shares converted into the physical form. The client has to give the return request in the form of RRF, that is remit request form, to the depository participant. The client have to submit one form that is known as a remit request form, and that need to be submitted to the depository participant. The depository participant forward the RRF to the issuer and the depository. So he will take the two copy, he will forward one copy to the issuer company of the share certificate and second copy to the depository. Okay, the issuer print the certificate and send them to the client and simultaneously confirms the acceptance of remit request to the depository. So here the company, what the company will do, the company will print the share certificate and he will send the share certificate to the client, that is the investor, and the same thing will be confirmation done by the company to the depository, and accordingly the things of remit request form will be done according to the, we can say, to the depository. Okay, the same यहाँ पे देखिए, the issuer prints the certificate and send them to the client and simultaneously confirms the acceptance of remit request form to the depository. So he will make an intimation, the company will make an intimation that the request of client's remit is been accepted by the company, and accordingly the share certificate is for given to them, and you need to update your account with the same. So accordingly the depository will do their part. The next one is known as the fungibility. In the financial term, fungibility means the state of being interchangeable. Some financial assets are fungible while some assets are not. So here what it says, that fungible means the state of being interchangeable, that can be interchanged very easily. Okay, अगर आप लोग ने शेयर सर्टिफिकेट देखा है, नॉर्मली शेयर सर्टिफिकेट का कोई फॉर्मेट तो नहीं है हमारे यहाँ पे, बट वी कैन से अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेयर्स के जो लेटर्स होते हैं, नॉर्मली द लेटर्स दैट वी हैव सीन इन द अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेयर, in that particular allotment one column is there, that column is distinctive numbers of share. ठीक है, now in that distinctive number of share it has been written 6001 to 7000. okay, so we can say when the shares are in the physical form, at that time during the allotment of that particular letter is been done in the share certificate as well as in that allotment letter, this distinctive number is been mentioned in that particular document. Okay, so this particular document, when that share, we can say distinctive number is been mentioned, that is very easily been understood by the investor that I have got 1000 of shares and my lot of shares lies between 6001 to 700. So that is the lot and that is the slot of shares which is been offered and which is been issued in the name of that particular investor. Whereas in this particular financial terms, fungible means the state of being interchangeable. So here you cannot identify such things that from which lot to which lot or from which slot to which slot the shares are there. Some financial assets are fungible while some are not. So some financial assets are fungible in nature whereas some assets are not. Example given here, land is not fungible as every unit of land has its unique quality which add or to reduce its value. So land is not a fungible in nature because some land has a unique with differences and some land are different. So each and every land is a unique quality which adds to or reduce the value. So some may add the value, some may reduce the value. Okay. Second one, currency note is a fungible as there is no difference between two currency notes on the same value. So we have seen the 10 rupee note, we have seen the 20 rupee note, we have seen the 2000 note, we have seen the 5000 note. In each and every note there are some specific numbers has been mentioned over there. Okay, and if you see the color, if you see the we can say design, if you see the kind of a print is there on that specific 10 rupee note or 20 rupee note or 500 rupee note or 2000 rupee note, all those notes are similar in nature. Okay, but the distinctive number, we can say the currency number, the distinctive number which has been mentioned over that note, on that particular note which is printed on the note, that is different in each and every note. If you have two 10 rupee note in your pocket and if you try to see the number which has been printed on both the 10 rupee note, that is different in nature. Some we can say some notes are in A category, some notes are in the B category, some notes are in the C category. Means the alphabet, A series notes are there, then B series notes are there, and then C series notes are there. Accordingly, the notes are there, but the color, the design, the shape, the structure, each and everything are similar in nature. So that's a thing we can say. Currency notes are fungible, and there is no difference between the two currency notes and of the same value, or of the, we can say, same thing, currency. Similarly, securities issued by the company of the same class have same value no matter who owns them. Okay, so whatever the lot of shares has been issued by the company, it have the same value. The securities held in demat electronic form are fungible. Okay, so when the shares has been issued in the electronic form, they are fungible in nature. Because the distinctive number is not there, you cannot identify the lots in the series, and accordingly the shares which has been issued in that shares are issued to the investor's name, all those shares are there. But if the shares are issued in the physical form, then the distinctive number will be there. So they are, we can say, they are interchangeable, so substitutable, and cannot be distinguished from each other. Securities bear no notable feature like distinctive numbers, certificate number or folio number. तो securities के ऊपर तो you don't have now we can say the format of the securities have also been changed, and now you don't find such data on the securities and all. Then fourth one, we can say international security identification number, that is ISIN number. It is a code that uniquely identifies a specific securities issue. So ISIN number, we can say, by using such code you can identify that to whom the securities has been issued, how much the security has been issued. You can get the relevant data related to the securities. ISIN in any country are allotted by that country's NNA, that is national numbering number. So IN, that is international security identification number, has been issued by a agency called as a national numbering agency, and accordingly the data has been rectified by that particular countries. ISIN is a standard numbering system which is accepted globally. So ISIN number is global accepted number. Okay, so we can say if you go to any country, if you give your ISIN number related to the company, then you can easily able to identify which company it is, who have formed, and in which country it is located, where are the head office, how many branches are there, what is the turnover, who is the directors, how many clients are there, how many customers are there, what kind of businesses are there. Accordingly, each and every data has been mentioned. In the International Organization of Standardization, ISO currently defines ISIN structure. So ISO, getting an ISO certificate is very important for a company, and ISO have been defines ISIN structure. So we can say previously it was not there, but today ISIN have taken into the consideration the ISO have taken into the consideration the ISIN number, and accordingly they will give the gradings related to the company. In India, issuing ISIN to securities is assigned by the SEBI to NSDL for demat shares, and SEBI work as the NNA in India. So we can say in India, ISIN to securities has been assigned by the SEBI, and SEBI has given the power to NSDL, and NSDL, we know very well, it is a depository participant. It is a depository. So NSDL is a depository. Okay, SEBI has given the power to the NSDL in order to issue the ISIN number, and SEBI has a work, we can say, as the NNA, that is National Numbering Agency. SEBI will work as a national numbering agency which has given the power to NSDL, which is also a depository in India, to issue the ISIN number. Okay. For the government securities, allotment of ISIN is done by the RBI. If the securities are issued by the government authority, government company, then RBI will give the ISIN number. ISIN consists of a 12-digit alphanumeric code which is divided into 3 parts. So you know very well कि share certificate जब होता है, so ISIN number has been given over here. This is a new format and the new thing which has been issued to the company, and along with that there are 12 digits with alphanumeric variables are there, and accordingly these are divided into 3 parts. The company has to apply for ISIN for its securities with document like prospectus. So we can say the company have to apply for ISI number. Previously, whatever the companies are registered under Indian Companies Act 1956, and after that 2013, many companies are like that who don't have this ISI number, but the company have to apply to the SEBI for ISI number. They have to get the ISI number. Government company, they have to apply to the RBI for getting the ISI number, and accordingly now each and every company, it is a mandatory to have ISIN number. Additional information is given over here. We can say ISIN number is a 12 character long alphanumeric code or ID number. It has three components. A is a prefix, B is a basic number, and C is a check digit. We can say prefix is a 2-digit currency code given by an ISO, that is International Organization for Standardization 6166, which in IN for India. So 6166 is a code which reflect the IN, the country code for India. The basic number is made of 9 alphanumeric digit or alphabets. The check digit at the end of ISIN is complete to check the validity of ISIN number. So last digit, we can say it is a validity, that how long it will be there with the company, and again they have to renew the things and all. So the additional information is been given over here. Further explanation you have to do it on your own. Okay, and we move on with the next part. The functionings of the depository system. Okay, so we are going to see the functionings, how the functioning is being done. In case of a conversion of physical certificate into electronic, that is the dematerialized process, what are the procedure need to be followed? First and foremost, the investor have to submit DRF, that is a demat request form, in triplicate. Triplicate means the 3 copies of demat request form and the certificate to the DP. So 3 copy of demat request form and 1 copy, we can say, and 1 original share certificate to the depository participant the investor have to submit. DP enters the demat request form in its system and send it to the depository. So what the depository participant will do? He will going to enter the data related to the demat request form in his system, and same thing will be all the things will be forwarded to the depository. The DP dispatch the physical certificate and the copy of DRF to the issuer. Depository, what he will do? He will dispatch the physical certificate, that is the original copy of the share certificate, and 1 copy of demat request form to the issuer. Issuer, who is the issuer? The company who have issued the share. The issuer verifies and confirms to the depository about dematting the security. The issuer company, when he will get the document, the person will verify each and every data. He will confirms to the depository about the request that has been made from the investor, and accordingly the company have taken the action. Okay, depository record the request in the system and forward it to the issuer. What the depository will do? The depository will request we can say request in the system. He will update his system accordingly and forward it to the issuer company. Depository credits the demat securities to the beneficiary account. So what the depository will do? Whatever the amount of shares that was held by the investor in the physical form, now the depository will have an account of the investor, and he will credit his account with that much number of shares which he was having in the physical form. Okay, depository credits the demat securities to the beneficiary account, that is in the demat account of the investor. Depository intimates to the depository participant. So after crediting the account of the investor, depository will inform the depository participant. Depository participant issues a statement of account to the investor. The depository participant can issue a passbook. Passbook can also be issued by the depository participant to the investor. If he is not issuing the passbook, then the statement of account related to the demat account can be issued to the by the depository participant to the investor. So such things are there, and below the illustrative representation has been given. In exam, you don't need to draw this illustration representative. This is just for your understanding. Whatever the points that we have discussed right now, that is the thing which has been given like this. So illustrative representation, you don't this is just for simple understanding of all the points which is given over there. You don't have to draw it into in your exams and all. Okay, in second one, in case of IPO, that is initial public offer, What is the procedure? The investor, that is a beneficial owner. Beneficial owner, investor. Issuer कौन होता है? कंपनी होता है. ओके. Depository, NSDL, CDSL. Depository participant, it can be anyone, person or an institution, and such things are there. So you have to be very specific when we talk about the issuer or when we talk about the beneficial owner. So here we can say beneficial owner. BO means the beneficial owner. The investor, what he will do? The investor submit his application for securities to issue the company. He will submit an application for the securities to the issuer company, the company who wanted to issue the security. Second one, the issuer company verify the details of beneficial owner with the depository. When the company will get the we can say application, he will verify all the details with the depository. After verification of beneficial owner's detail, the depository give its report to the issuer company. So he will cross verify the data with the application that he has given, the investor has given, and after finding it relevant, each and everything is complete, he will submit one particular report to the company, issuer company. Issuer company give details of allotment of securities to the depository. So after getting the report, when the company is satisfied, he will give a detail regarding the allotment of securities that he is doing related to the investor. Depository credits the account of the beneficial owner. So depository, after getting the confirmation from the company, depository automatically credit the account of a beneficial owner with the specific number of shares that he has got. Depository intimates the depository participant about the client's beneficials owner crediting beneficials owner's account. So depository intimate the depository participant that he has credited the investor's account with certain number of shares, and you need to intimate to the investor accordingly. So he will do that. And the seventh point, we can say depository participant issues the statement of account to the beneficial owner. So after the account has been credited, the depository participant update his account in his system, and accordingly a statement of account has been forwarded to the investor. And this is what the illustration given related to the IPO, that is initial public offer. Okay, this is just for an understanding of the concepts that we have seen with all relevant 7 points. Okay, so we are moving with the next one, that is the transfer of securities under the depository system. In case of sale of share, the transferor, that is the investor, has to inform his DP by issuing the DIS, that is delivery instrument slip. In case of sale of shares, the transferor, the person who have invested into the shares of the company, he is willing to sell his shares, so he have to inform the depository participant about it by giving him the delivery instruction certificate, which is filled and signed with the details of the securities sold. Okay, at the end of the transaction, the securities are debited in his demat account. So whatever the transaction he have done, accordingly his amount will be debited with that much amount of shares which that have been sold out by the transferor. The transfer can be done as of market trade or as a market trade. We can say off market trade or as market trade. So we can say selling can be done as an off market. We can say the prices that is related to the market, and the prices which is not related to that much related to the market during the market time, and off the market time can also be there. So transfer can be done accordingly. Off market mein, normally here we can say any trade settled directly between two parties on mutual agreed terms without the involvement of clearing corporation, share broker or a stock exchange is called as a off market trade. So we can say whenever the buying and selling of shares is been done between the two parties, that is when they mutually agreed with the terms and condition without having any kind of involvement of any corporation or share broker or stock exchange, that is an off market trade. Examples include legacy of transfer, gifts, shifting of securities between the client and the sub broker, and etc. So all these are the examples related to the off market trade. Procedures are there. We can say transferor, the person who sells the share, that is the seller. gives the delivery instruction to his GP that he is delivering certain amount of shares to a particular person. He have to intimate such things to the depository participant to move the security from transferor's account to the buyer's account. So that much amount of shares will be debited by the depository participant, and accordingly that much amount of share will be credited to the person to whom he has given the share. Transferee, that is the person who have bought the share, that is the buyer, will receive the credit of the securities through his GP. So that much amount of share will be credited in the buyer's account by his GP into the buyer's account after confirmation from the depository participant from the seller's GP. Okay, the fund/money will be paid to the buyer to the seller directly. So at the moment the share has been debited and credited, at the same time the amount will be debited and credited. Second one is a market trade. Any trade which is settled through a clearing corporation is called market trade. So any trade which has been cleared where all the people are involved in between, so all such trade is known as a market trade. These trades are done through the stockbroker or on a stock exchange. So stockbroker will be there on a particular stock exchange. The people will buy and sell the shares. So accordingly we can say a diagram has been given. Depository is there, depository 1 seller, depository 2 the buyer, clearing house will be there, again the broker will be involved in between, and accordingly the shares will be done. Sorry for the trouble. This was the thing that we were seeing, market trade. Let us see the procedure. Transferor gives delivery instruction to his GP. Okay, the person who want to sell the share, he will give the instruction to the depository participant. So securities move from transferor's account to the transferor broker's account. So transferor will transferor's account will be debited and transferor's broker account will be credited with that much amount of share. Securities then are transferred from the broker's account to the clearinghouse account of the stock exchange as per the delivery instruction. So securities then they transferred from the broker's account to the clearinghouse account. So when the broker account will be credited, at that time we can say when the information is being conveyed further, then the transferred we can say securities are transferred from broker's account to the clearinghouse account. On the payout day, the securities move from clearinghouse to the account of a broker of a buyer. So on the payout day, we can say the day on which the payment need to be done and the securities need to be moved. On that particular, securities are moved from the we can say clearinghouse account from a broker to a account of a broker of a buyer. After the instruction and confirmation from the depository, securities move from the buyer's account. So after the confirmation has been done from the buyer, we can say the depository will move the securities from the buyer's account. Okay, in case of a purchase of share, that is the client that is the transferee sends the intimation to the depository participant giving details of the securities bought. So here in case of a purchase of share, the client, the person, those who have purchased the share, he will give a transferee send an intimation to the depository participant by giving a detail of securities that he have bought it from a particular seller. The depository after the due process informs the depository participant. So depository participant, what he will do after having a confirmation, after having an information, he will inform the depository participant to transfer / credit the securities in the name of the transferee. So when the transferee, that is the person who have bought the share, when he will give a detailed information to the depository participant, the depository participant after having a due process, after having a process, informs the depository participant to credit that much amount of shares of the transferee. The depository participant make book entries in the account of the investor to record all the sales / purchase of securities. So here what he will do, depository participant make the book entries into his particular system in the specific account of the investor to record all the sales and purchase of securities that he has done in his name. So here we have completed the concept. The last concept is there in India. We can say depositories in India. We will see it in the next lecture. I hope that you have understood all the things that we did here in this specific lecture. Thank you.